Today's photography exploration takes me to an isolated garden oasis that sits at the head of a small, shallow gorge and slices right through a rolling meadow. Not only is it one of the trickiest locations to get to, but I also find it's one of the trickiest to photograph. So, tucked away beside the village of Stonehoff in Northumberland, I found Middleburn Falls to be a deceptively tricky subject to photograph. Getting to the side of the falls is easy enough. Simply park up at the campsite, cross the stepping stones, head up the bank, through the gate and into the meadow, and you're at the top of the ridge that overlooks the falls. I love this God's Eye view, and I'm immediately struck by the lushness of it, all neatly tucked and folded away into the gorge, and yet surrounded by almost barren, featureless meadows. As a photography viewpoint though, it's very limiting, so I think the best story is going to be told from down by the catchpole. And this is where it starts to get tricky, as getting up close and personal requires a little bit more effort. Even after you've scrambled down the bank, and along the overgrown edge of the burn and managed to avoid the many hidden traps along the way, your viewpoint is still quite confined, and sometimes I wonder if it is worth the effort. I love going on these little recce's though. For one thing, it's getting outdoors and it's reconnecting with nature, but it also means getting to explore somewhere for the first time, and like the stone outhouse that overlooks it, Middleburn Falls feels very out of place in its surroundings. The gorge into which it empties is like some wild and overgrown oasis carved into a drab and featureless landscape, an overgrown field full of nettles and thistles. I don't know, I guess I'm just used to seeing waterfalls in either a forest setting or with a valley surrounding it. It just seems strange to me to see one in the middle of a meadow like this, but I guess therein lies its idiosyncratic charm. With all this in mind, with how the surroundings and environment inform my perception and feel for a place, how then do I capture all this and convey it in the final image? Because sometimes it's not enough to photograph something just because it's pretty. These recce's then are the best way to help me eventually decide what story I want to tell. But right at this minute though, it's just a question of what focal length I want to use and what information do I want to cram into the scene. There's an abundance of lush foreground elements during the summer months, but they don't particularly lead the eye very well and are at risk of overwhelming the subject. Beyond that though, I've got a couple of ideas for future shoots. But until then, here are some images I came away with.